Well, Coley, that was stress-free and serene, and I'm sure you're absolutely calm. Back-to-back 1-0 victories, though, you must be really pleased.
Just wish we could make it a lot easier for ourselves. You know, total domination for the first half hour. Let them come into the game for 5 minutes in the first half, and then we've got this mode that I don't like we get into where we don't make chances. And because we're keeping them at arm's length and they're not having any chances, we seem quite happy with that, and that's not the way to do it. Because eventually the home team will get a head of steam up, and they did. And they made a couple of great chances, and our keepers made a couple of good saves, and we've made a couple of blocks. But we should be going up the other end and making chances, because when we're making chances, they're not making chances in our end. You know, they never laid a glove on us for half an hour. It was like the most complete away performance. And then we get sloppy, we give them 2 chances, both, you know, one a good save by Traff and one big Chris Porter's put it wide. And then we seem to want to idle through the second half and say, well, you know, you aren't going to hurt us. But eventually, they're a good team, Crewe. They play good football, they've got good players, and they are going to hurt you. So, you know, all big thanks for our keeper for making a great save. A couple of great blocks. I think one was by Harry Perrott, come on and threw his body on the line. But then we've had chances to put it to bed again, and, you know, we've fluffed our lines again, and we've got to be better than that. We've got to be better at both ends. We've been good defensively. I've got to give the lads that. They stick to the task really well. You know, Michael Nottingham going through the playing barrier. Ross was absolutely immense. You know, a little bit unfortunate to get the yellow card, but, you know, it was a card fest out there, and I wouldn't describe it as a dirty game. And yeah, I think there was probably 10 or 11 cards. And, you know, things like that can get into the game. But, you know, we're defending better, we've got to attack better, we've got to attack for longer periods. And if we do that, we won't have to defend as well as what we are doing.
You talked a couple of weeks ago at Wickham about how unhappy you were with the defending. The turnaround now, back-to-back clean sheets for the first time since January.
It's night and day. The defending in the last 3 games compared to the defending in the first 20 minutes against Wickham, it is total night and day difference. You couldn't get a starker contrast. Have they took on board? Was that a fluke game? Yeah, no one will know. But I know we've got lads who will give their all, and it certainly won't be for the want to sign. You know, there's no laziness in the camp, that's for sure. The lads give it their all, and, you know, today it went our way. You know, I expect Crewe to pick up a lot of points at home. They're an attractive football team, going through a little bit of transition with players with contract situations not being solved, and losing players, and we know firsthand how that can damage your club, damage your morale. And so I feel for you know, Big Dave, and I feel for the fans as well, because the fans want the better players playing. They want, if they're going to go, they want them to go for big money so they can improve the infrastructure of the grounds and the team and the club, and they can get better players in or players to replace them. And as it stands now, you know, I feel for Dave, because he's in a bit of limbo, really. And, you know, I've been there loads of times. It's difficult to cope with.
Another different goal scorer, you're sharing them out. Michael Nottingham popping up. I know that's something you want your strikers to score, but in previous seasons you've said you want a large number of people contributing, so you must be happy. Of course we do, and, you know, Matt Butcher should have scored. Ross should have scored. Big Pelly should have scored. Joel at the end should have scored. So we could have had 5 today, but they could have had 4 or 5. So, you know, I'm not for 1 minute trying to blow our own trumpet and say we were far superior. I think for big parts of the game we controlled it, but when we let them into it, they look dangerous, and we've got to be mindful that we don't let teams come into the game. You mentioned the bookings. Obviously, Crewe ended with 10 men. What did you make of that one for a start?
Well, you know, Joe's clean through on goal, so I think there was a lad getting back, so it could have been a red in its own right. But there was lots of bookings out there for both sides that I think were a bit cheap, and some that really should have warranted bookings that weren't given. So, listen, it happens, and, you know, you're never going to get a perfect refereeing performance, just like you'll never get a perfect manager and you'll never get a perfect playing performance. So, you know, you've just got to accept that that's part and parcel of the game, and they're doing the best to get things right.
We played 99 minutes, I think. The referee had a word with your goalkeeper who'd already been booked for running the clock down.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that, because he's gone to get a drink when the ball's still bobbling around the area and he hasn't really set him where to go. No real warning for it either. And after 52 minutes, you very rarely see that. You probably see it after 60. And that puts him behind the 8 ball. And then you get all the fans wanting to get the keeper sent off for kicking the ball away, which was a load of nonsense. It was never going to happen. And, you know, football fans, they want the team to win. They want the team to have a chance to win, and it's frustrating. You know, listen, everyone time wastes. and everyone hates it when it's getting done to you. It's part and parcel of the game, and I don't like our players doing it, because I think that it just means that you're playing 6 or 7 instead of 3 or 4. I don't really see the point of it. I know people try and do it to kill the game. I'd sooner get the game played and try and go and get another goal.
You've won 4 on the spin in all competitions. We've talked about back-to-back clean sheets. I get the real sense that you feel like you're still in third gear. Would that be fair?
I wouldn't say third gear. We're hitting maximum peak, but only for 10 or 15 minutes in a game. And we've got to have longer spells. And we've got to stop idling in the second half. That's the 3rd game in a row now we've idled in the second half and let teams come onto us. When we've pushed them back so well and made chances galore in the first half of all games. We didn't make as many chances as what we should have done in the second half today, and that's something that we're going to have to address. And we'll address that in the training grounds. And then, you know, I'd like to say in the analytical studio if we had one, but then I'm not a Premiership manager, so. But we'll do it with the video, with a telly somewhere.
You've got Sam Sheringham, came off the bench, made his debut. You must have been pleased with that, and obviously you'll be looking for more strength.
Well, he's played 2 different positions in 4 minutes, so yeah, that's, you know, tough place to come and make your debut. And you know, we've got lads there who are chomping at the bit to equally fill in. And you know, Harry Perrett's come on and done really well. Made a couple of great blocks, a couple of good tackles, and you know, we've got lads there who will give their all, and that's all we can ask for as a football club.
And League Cup in midweek, if I know you, you won't be thinking about how many changes you can make or giving players minutes. You'll just want to win.
I just have to look at how, you know, the bill of health. But I want to win the game, that's for sure.